1 year ago, we got the news that a disease was quickly spreading and that there would be a nationwide shutdown, forcing businesses to close, children to stay home, and families to stay indoors. We were told that the shutdown would last for 2 weeks. Today, I am coming to you remotely to share what Feeding America Riverside San Bernardino has done to combat hunger and the root causes of food insecurity during what has become a year-long pandemic. As the CEO of our food bank, I can truly say how unique this past year has been for us. Our team never had the option to stay home. And what felt like overnight, life took a drastic turn. We worked harder than ever to pack, process, and distribute enough food for vulnerable neighbors. We worked alongside our partners in healthcare, transportation, agriculture, and grocery and essential retail stores to ensure our community could stay afloat as it felt like aspects of everyday life were falling apart. We worked as a team with masks and gloves on to work quickly and safely to ensure shelf-stable food was available for families who would need it now or in a week. We spent more time with each other as a team than we did with our own loved ones. We were expected to cut all volunteer shifts while half of our pantries closed their doors. And as you can imagine, this made packing food boxes and getting food out to local residents more challenging than it had ever been before. Despite the long hours, the sleepless nights, a dwindling volunteer workforce, and the growing lines forming around our building of people needing food, we knew that we could not and would not let our community down when they needed us most. Hunger has remained a prominent issue in our Riverside and San Bernardino communities for decades, but it has been overlooked and stigmatized, left to be resolved with often meager support. The pandemic has taught us that hunger can afflict anyone, and that the face of hunger is no longer an ambiguous one. The face looks like that of a mother who lost her job in the hospitality industry and is rationing milk for the sake of her 3 children. It is the dad whose hours were cut at the airport, leaving him with no choice but to forego dinner so his pregnant wife doesn't have to. The faces of hunger include the elderly couple down the street who don't have any reliable transportation to go grocery shopping to get the food they need. It's the family having to choose between purchasing insulin for their diabetic child and buying food for the next 2 weeks. This time has shown us what the reality of hunger looks like. Before the pandemic, there were over 400,000 Inland Empire residents who were at risk of experiencing food insecurity. But that number has more than tripled as we provided over 19 million meals in 2020 to local residents. Here are just a few of the stories of the people that we helped.
I lost my job due to COVID-19 back in April. My family of 6 receives SNAP benefits, but $300 a month is not enough to feed us all for a month. Our kitchen is almost empty while we currently have 4 kids who have to attend school from home.
I'm a senior citizen and a proud Korean War veteran. My daughter battled stage 4 kidney cancer, and my son-in-law survived a throat cancer, radiation and chemotherapy, and multiple strokes. We need help.
We have 5 kids under the age of 10. Our 2-year-old daughter has congenital heart failure disease.
My husband died in November. We've now lost half our income and can really use the food assistance.
My husband and I are 90. I am recovering from a broken back, and my husband is in end-stage Parkinson's. We have 2 days of food in the house.
I was in a major car accident back in March of 2019 and have been unemployed since. My wife works part-time, but she is trying to find full-time work. It's hard for us to pay for food.
I have 2 disabled children, and not having a car makes it really hard to go anywhere. Our fridge is bare.
I'm disabled and having a heart surgery that will require 6 to 8 weeks to recover. I'm also on Social Security and just got notice that I will need to vacate my home.
My mom needs help. She's in hospice with cancer, heart, and kidney failure.
These are real stories of the people we served during the pandemic. And the one thing that they all have in common is that this pandemic forced them into food insecurity. Here is what our numbers look like during the last fiscal year. 1.8 million individuals served during the year. Over 24 million pounds of food distributed with less than 1/2 of our partners assisting us. Over 2,500 homebound deliveries conducted. Over 1,000 CalFresh applications submitted. 1,300 unique volunteers assisting on the front lines. 1,800 volunteer hours donated. Up to 7 meals distributed per dollar donated. At its peak, we quickly saw that drive-through food distributions and partner pantries were simply not enough. The need was greater than we were. We acted quickly and decided to launch a brand new program to better utilize volunteer manpower while keeping volunteers and our most vulnerable neighbors safe. We launched HERO. HERO stands for Homebound Emergency Relief Outreach and is an emergency home delivery service that ensures homebound neighbors can receive needed food and toiletries with the help of a FARSB volunteer. Esri, the Inland Empire-based supplier of GIS software and geodatabase applications, offered to create a sophisticated yet user-friendly application to help volunteers sign up for deliveries, understand client needs, and record successful deliveries in real time. This tool has aided in the completion of over 7,000 home deliveries since March 2020, and it still assists every day with home deliveries. Without this tool, our community would have been hit at a greater level than it already had been. To tell you a little bit more about the software, I'd like to introduce Amanda Stanko, Solutions Engineer at Esri.
In March of 2020, when we were all confronted by the virus and our lives were upended, our priorities shifted. For some of us, our cupboards were bare and store shelves were quickly emptying out. How are we supposed to get basic necessities when we were low on resources and it was potentially unsafe for us to leave our homes? With a community in great need, Feeding America and the volunteers stepped up to assist, reimagining what it would take to feed the community. Riverside and San Bernardino are the two largest counties in California. Supplying the needed demand for food was a geographic problem. How do we get food from different pantries directly to the doorstep of people in need, safely, with the most optimum approach? Since working with Feeding America from 2019 as a mapping volunteer, I learned of the enormous tasks they were taking on. We knew maps could help guide their operations, direct volunteers to their deliveries, and visualize us all in one place to monitor. Now, a team of us from Feeding America and Esri brainstormed on how to best address these challenges. We could map where deliveries are being picked up from and where they go to. And we can visualize all this crucial information for management to monitor operations all in one place. Now, making this big change in the midst of the pandemic can seem daunting. But it was a huge undertaking with just a few people managing this. Making this shift would only improve operations. After working together to design the maps and apps to address these challenges, we were ready to launch the new HERO program, the home delivery platform. Let me show you a little of what we created. There's a volunteer app to show where and who to deliver to, now using maps to guide them to their destination. There's a volunteer manager app to give a full picture to monitor operations in real time, always knowing when requests are coming in, where volunteers are in their delivery stages, and ensuring no one requesting help goes hungry. And there's an executive dashboard showing a full overview of the program to understand how many people have been impacted. This big picture view allows Feeding America to understand the reach of the program and share this information with stakeholders. Here we are now, a full year into the pandemic being a central part of our lives. I think back to last year and how we've been communicating and collaborating on the creation, the design, the implementation of the HERO program. From the initial chaos to the current continuous flow using mapping applications and technology to make everyone's lives easier. Every day I'm inspired by the dedication of Feeding America and the countless volunteers giving their time to help people in their community. I'm so grateful the HERO program is helping people get needed resources, helping volunteers know where and how to do their part, and having us all sharing the common language of understanding. By understanding the challenges with hunger in our community, we can come together and solve these challenges, helping more people in need. Thank you.
Over the past 40 years, we have given food aid to Inland Empire residents who have gone through losing their homes in wildfires, lost power due to natural disasters, and lost hope during the difficult and ever-changing job market. Today, as a withstanding food bank, we are giving our greatest effort to feed families through the current hunger crisis. In 2020, Farsby served over 1.5 million Inland Empire residents, 1/3 of which were children. To put this into perspective, this is enough people to fill AT&T Stadium during the Super Bowl 15 times. This sad reality demonstrates a true need within our very own community. With the help of our network of community partners throughout Riverside and San Bernardino counties, we distributed over 26 million pounds of food. To put this into perspective, this is the equivalent weight of 148 fully fueled commercial airplanes. While we can celebrate that this was made possible through the generosity of our donors and volunteers, there are still far too many IE residents that have yet to be served, even after Inland Empire residents are welcomed back into the workforce. We must remember that tens of thousands of neighbors will still need food. As a food bank, our goal includes so much more than giving food at no cost to neighbors in need. Although food provisions immediately help hungry neighbors, we recognize it isn't the sole solution to the lifelong fight against hunger. That is why this year and in the years ahead, we are focusing on sustainable solutions that will carry Inland Empire residents out of food insecurity and into a position with access to adequate and nutritious food. When we say we want to create a hunger-free IE, we mean it. To ignore the hindrances that we are facing now and its effects on Farsby's capabilities would be irresponsible. We must recognize the disparities that existed before the pandemic and how they have fluctuated since. To better address the needs of those disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, we will expand our already existing food programs and community outreach. In the coming year and the years that follow, we intend to increase capacity in the following ways. CalFresh assistance. Through the expansion of food programs like CalFresh Assistance, Farsby will be able to support more neighbors in need with better help. CalFresh is a nutrition assistance program that gives monthly benefits to individuals and families who may be struggling to put food on the table. Here at Farsby, we are dedicated to bringing local awareness to the program while aiding in the application process. This is just one area where we are working to educate and provide solutions to food insecurity. With this, Farsby aims to help process more CalFresh applications this 2021 year so that more families experiencing food insecurity can get the financial help they need to purchase food. Kids' meal sites. With schools closed, children are succumbed to learning at home, forcing them to miss the reduced price or free lunches they would normally receive from in-person learning. Farsby works to combat child hunger by implementing grab-and-go sites where families and their children are invited to stop by their nearest participating school to get the lunch meal they need along with a variety of produce and dairy essentials. These sites are within Rialto, Redlands, and Chaffee Joint Unified High School District. All school sites are open to the public, ensuring families aren't turned away simply because of where their child is enrolled. This will give the support parents need to feed their children while waiting for schools to safely open. We intend to continue supporting these schools and expanding our list of participating school meal sites to ensure that families all over the IE are able to benefit. Partner capacity. While we have over 250 partners assisting with food distribution efforts in the next year and the years following, our goal is to continue to offer vital resources to ensure our partners, many of whom are operating small pantries, can build capacity and expand local outreach efforts. This will include offering additional supplies, grants, exclusive training sessions, in-kind support, and opportunities to partner together for large-scale distribution events. In addition, we will be launching a new service to assist partners in their volunteer recruitment efforts. This service will allocate FARSB volunteers to partner sites to accommodate their increased distribution needs. Monthly drive-through distributions. Economic recovery from the pandemic is expected to take years. As families get back to work, the need for food will remain. To assist families facing the prolonged impact of the pandemic, we will host regular monthly drive-through distributions across various Inland Empire cities for as long as we are needed. While the need remains, so will our efforts. Increasing fresh produce distribution. FARSB is working diligently to remain flexible with the food donations we receive. We are grateful to be in a position to get wholesale grocery items periodically with the ability to distribute it to our community partners so that struggling families get food at no cost. However, because of the pandemic and supply and demand factors, we don't always obtain the food or supplies that are needed most in our community. That is when we, as a food bank, must take the extra step and purchase food so that our vulnerable neighbors don't have to go without. Peanut butter, canned tuna, paper goods, and produce are just a few of the items that are often asked for but are not consistently donated. Because of these factors, FARSB turned to purchasing highly sought food items to better accommodate Inland Empire neighbors. With this, FARSB is now able to provide up to 7 meals for every dollar donated. The cost of groceries has risen, but we expect to continue to factor this into our efforts, if it will give neighbors the ability to put nutritious food on the table. Hero expansion. As we mentioned earlier, the pandemic leveraged new opportunities, like the opportunity to offer food deliveries to neighbors in need. In the coming year, our goal is to offer high-quality food, additional non-food items as it becomes available, and opportunities to learn about other services offered by FARSB and our partners. We intend to reach more families in our service area, which includes over 100 unique cities, along with offering recurring deliveries to households experiencing chronic food insecurity or prolonged food insecurity due to emergency health situations. We intend to shorten delivery times, expand hubs that volunteers can pick up food from, and create meaningful opportunities for the clients who lean on us for emergency support. Whether our neighbors receive food from our Hero program, one of our 250 community partners, or directly from one of our drive-through distributions, they'll be able to get more wholesome options for themselves and their families. With all of this in mind, we invite you to consider a donation to support our efforts. Every single dollar helps to provide up to 7 meals. 98 cents of every dollar goes directly to food programs, and 100% of proceeds stay in the Inland Empire. The fight against hunger cannot be endured alone. Together, we are stronger. Together, we can rise above the circumstances. Together, we can feed the IE. Visit feedingie.org/curb-hunger or donate directly here on this page. Thank you to the sponsors of this year's Curbing Hunger, and thank you to all of you who have taken the time to learn more about the hunger crisis and the ways you can help.